Yeah. I know just a little bit I know from like reading your profile and following your music that a while back you moved to LA. Do you feel like moving to LA enhanced your collaboration opportunities?
Um, it's funny because I wouldn't say it necessarily enhanced the opportunities. I mean, you do meet way more people here just in person. I would say what I'm doing can be done anywhere. I could have stayed in Portland, Oregon and done it. I could be anywhere else. The thing about LA that I like isn't necessarily the opportunities, it's that everyone that you meet and around you is hustling. They're also musicians, they're actors, they're this, where it kind of puts a fire in you. You're like, everyone else is doing it. Like, I got to work hard. I got to be getting after it. Where in Portland, there really is no music scene. No one's an actor. No one's doing that stuff. And so you can do very little and feel accomplished, right? So, it's like, I can take today off. I'm doing pretty good here in Portland. But when you're in LA, I mean, any coffee shop you go to, any restaurant, I mean, all those people are musicians and videographers. And it just builds that fire in you, and you're like, man, like, I got to be working hard too. Like, I really want this dream to come true. So I think that's the biggest thing about living in LA, is just having so many like-minded and people striving for the same goal as you around you.
Yeah. When you first moved out there, did that feel a little overwhelming in a sense? Because in a way, like when you're in your own space, not that it's like false positivity, but you can feel like you're doing more than you are just because you're like, oh, all my buddies around me, like they work 40 hours a week and then they're just like playing video games, drinking, they're not doing anything else with their life. So it's like I'm doing something, so I'm like a tier above that. Whereas you go out there and it's like you said, everyone's doing a tier above that, or that is like their only thing that they're doing. Did that feel like super overwhelming at first when you got out there?
Yeah, it was something that was expected, but still a shock. It's
Hmm.
funny because exactly what you said. When I was in Portland, it was like, like, all right, I'm doing pretty good. Like, after work, I'm working a little bit on beats and stuff, and I'm putting in some work. But yeah, when you come here and it's, I'm doing the same amount of work, and I look around, I'm like, hold up, like, I'm not even on the norm here. Like, I'm below the normal here. Like, everyone's just hustling, and it's like all they're talking about. And it's like, you meet coworkers, and they're just talking about their music career and what they're trying to do and stuff. And you're like, hold up, I got to get on the grind here. So I would say, it boosts you, but in the best way possible. It's not like I feel like I got to be better than them or something to prove, but it's like, it just shows you like how much you really got to want it, you
Yeah.
know?
And what are some ways that you've found to like stay in that mindset? Because I feel like we all have days where we feel like, the stuff we're doing isn't doing what we want it to, or like we're not like where we want to be in our careers and stuff like that. How do you kind of level out and say and be like not complacent, but also like content with the work that you're putting in?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, you just can't look too far out too much, in the sense of, you're going to have your overall goals, like, I want to be a famous, producer. I want to work with Post Malone and stuff. But I think the main key is, don't look at those goals too much. Just look at the next goal. Look at the goal of, I want to work with Justice Bennett, or I want to work with, someone smaller. And I think when you have those smaller goals that are only one or two steps away, it feels a lot closer, and it gives you more motivation to go after it. You're like, it's right there. If I just work hard, I can get it. And then, you accomplish it, and then you make, a new goal that's just one step away. So I think in this sense, it's like you don't get lost in it as much. It's like, what am I going to do to work with Post Malone? That's hard to think like that every day. It's hard to, you don't see the progress, where I really try to look at just one step ahead. What am I doing today to get me one step closer? What am I doing, to get me to work with this person or whatever the goal is. I think that's important, is not to overwhelm yourself with the big goals, and also just be happy with the process of it, you know? Like you gotta love it, and regardless if that day goes good or bad, you got to enjoy it.
No, that's a really good point. I think enjoying the process is like the best way to not get tied up in like future goals and stuff. Kind of tying into that, and over the last year, there was kind of this point where it got a little bit scary, and it felt like maybe AI was just going to take over music, and a lot of stuff was going to get replaced by AI. As a producer, what were your thoughts when that was all like first coming out, when there was like, fake Drake songs and all this stuff? As a producer, was that scary? Was it like infuriating? Was it sad? Were you concerned that maybe this wasn't gonna like stay on the path that you were on at the time?
Um, I would say less scared about the career, because kind of I really think that a lot of people listen to music for the artist, right? So say, Post Malone releases a song, they're listening to it because it's Post Malone's song. If that same song came out to an unknown, unfaced, whatever artist, probably not that many people are going to listen to it. So in that sense, I felt pretty safe as like a career, because I really believe, it's almost more of the person than the song that you're connecting to. But I would say the thing that was aggravating is like the views. Like someone's making like, a fake Drake song and it's getting millions of views, and I'm over here trying to promote my song and putting my all into it, and it's getting 200 views on TikTok, and it's like that part of it was really, like aggravating for a while. It's like all these people, are just doing nothing and getting it to blow up. It's like, what do I got to do? So
Yeah, no, for sure. And that is a good point. I've noticed that with some artists, like when Release Radar comes out or whatever, people tune in to, like when on Friday when they listen to new music, like you'll go to the songs just because an artist's name's on it, and you might even like the song more just because it's attached to an artist. Whereas if the same song came out by somebody else, you might not even make it through the whole song because you don't listen to the artist on a regular basis.
yeah, exactly. I would say that is a lot. I would say of the greatest artists, like Ryan Carveo and Post Malone and different ones. It's, you like them because you feel like you're peeping through a window into their life. Where it's, if that song was standing alone and it was by an unknown artist or whoever, I don't know if you would like it as much.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. So we're already in August. We don't have that much left for the year, but if you had one goal left for 2024, like your biggest goal that you'd like to hit before the end of the year, what do you think that would be if you had to pick one?
I do have an arcing goal for this year. I don't know if I'm gonna hit it. It was a big goal, but I wanted to do 1 million streams this year. Like
Okay.
that was kind of the overall goal, 1 million streams on Spotify specifically. I don't know if I'll hit it. It's gonna be somewhat close. I'm at about, I honestly haven't looked in a while. I know I'm anywhere between like 400 and 500,000 streams for this year. So it's either gonna be
That's
a
still
little
really
under.
good though.
Yeah, it is really good because kind of, so my first year I did 7,000 streams in my first year, and then
Yeah.
last year I did like 115,000. So I was like, all right, my goal is going to be like to 10x that, like I want like 1 million. So, I really wanted something that was going to really push me to go get it. I didn't want something that was going to be minimal effort and I'm hitting it like, 200 or 300,000, streams would be. So I was like, I want 1 million. I'm going to, work every day for it. And, it's like, regardless if you hit it or not, I'm still doing way better than if I didn't have that goal. I'm at
Oh,
like
for
half a
sure.
million streams. So
Yeah.
we're going for it.
No, that's huge. That's a huge goal, and that's awesome that you're where you're at on the way to that goal. I think that speaks a lot to your work ethic, and I think when you have like anybody can go into a year and set goals that they know that they'll hit so they can feel better about themselves. But at the end of the day, when you do that, you know that like you did that. Like you're the only one that really knows that like you sold yourself short and you did something because you wanted to check it off a list versus actually being like, no, I want to like shoot for this goal that I'm not sure if I will hit, but I know that if I strive for this, I'll like be better for it.
Yeah, exactly. And that was definitely the mindset I had, when I was setting that goal. I was like, I really want something that's going to push me because at the time, it's like I put in so much effort and I got barely 100,000. So now thinking, I'm going to 10x that, it's that's such a scary thought and a goal. It's like, what if I don't even get close? But I think that's, the extra push you need to really, really get you somewhere that you wouldn't have been.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, even 500,000, I know so many artists that, and maybe it's a matter of like switching up what you're doing, or I don't know what it is, but to go from 100 to 500 is really big, especially when, you look at how much people are releasing and all of that stuff. Like, I think sometimes, I was looking at it when I first started interviewing artists and like interviewing artists that were at like six monthly listeners or like 1,000 or 100,000 or over 1 million. And some of the like people with less had some of the same like qualities that you would see in someone that had 1 million. They just hadn't like quite found the reach. And I don't know what makes it that some people do that and some people don't. But like there can definitely be that frustration piece of like hitting a wall and feeling like your stuff's really good, but it just hasn't like hit the point where it like catches and carries.
Yeah.
What do you think you've really implemented this year to go from 115 to 500K even and potentially on the way to 1 million?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, definitely one of the biggest things I started implementing is just releasing more. So, last year, even though I had multiple big songs, I only released, I think it was like four songs over the
Yeah,
year,
I think it's
So this year we're in beginning of August, and I think this last one was my eighth this year, I believe. So, already we're not done, and I've doubled the amount of songs I've put out. Probably gonna at least, triple by the time we're end of the year, probably gonna be at least four or five more. I would say that's one big goal, but also just definitely like trying to level up the people that you're working with. I think it's definitely keep trying to, you want to work with bigger artists because I think collaboration is one of the biggest keys to finding that reach. So, it's really hard when you make a song and it's just you and, you're just promoting and you're the only one. It's really hard to get those steps going in the momentum where, if every song, like almost every song I've been releasing has someone on it and I'm reaching their audience. And, I've worked with, Benny May and Hunna V, Jared Anthony, Seven Sevens, and I don't even know. There's more than that. You know what I mean? This year, so you're reaching such a broad audience where I think that's definitely helped. It just ups those numbers naturally.